Greetings, my friends. I want to thank you all for subscribing. I want to thank all of my channel members for supporting me in this endeavor to save pop culture. And if you are not subscribed, please consider supporting this channel. We need you. Thank you. The fallout from the firing of Gina Carano continues to settle as more and more information comes to light about her struggle against cancel culture and her fight for free speech. And make no mistake, Gina Carano is a real-life hero, and her struggle is our struggle. I watched her interview with Ben Shapiro this morning, and I was deeply moved by her humanity, her sincerity, her bravery, and her grace under fire. I'm not going to recap what was said in her interview because it stands on its own merits, but I want to give my reaction to her authenticity in that interview and the importance of what she's fighting for. But then I have some new information to share with you, not only about her firing, but also about the harassment she allegedly received behind the scenes at The Mandalorian from a news source who claims to have a number of close contacts, over 11 of them, inside Lucasfilm, who are willing to spill the beans about just how bad things were for Gina Carano at Disney and who was responsible for her firing. At this point, I must remind you that this is information I received from a news source purporting to reveal information from Lucasfilm insiders. But since I cannot personally verify any of what I'm about to tell you, please consider all of this information as mere rumor and take it with a grain of salt. Please bear in mind that I have not worked with this source before. This source is brand new, and therefore take this video with an extra grain of salt, as this could be disinformation or some kind of hoax. I have decided to put this information out there regardless and let others pick it up, run with it, confirm or deny it. I cannot make any assertion as to whether this source is valid or not at this point until we have worked together for a longer period of time. That said, what are the claims being posited today? So, according to this source, this information comes from individuals who have had prior interactions with Gina Carano either directly or by seeing her on set. To protect their anonymity, my source refused to name them, but told me they had been in contact for a few years prior to this. When I asked this individual how confident they felt about the credibility of these insider sources, this source replied, quote, "My level of trust of this information, in my opinion, is very high, as in 8 out of 10. Some of these sources, 11 of them, have had roles in filmmaking for some time and have varying political beliefs. Some are even tame/cool SJWs. But all of them know about your channel. Some like you, some don't. But lots of them are starting to feel the amount of bullshit going on behind the scenes. One of my sources claimed they are actively cracking down on people on their phones in an attempt to control info leaks. One thing they all agree on is that they appreciate the fandom menace. And yes, there are people from the bottom to the almost top of Lucasfilm and Disney who appreciate what fans like you and me are doing. It's starting to have an impact. A recent investor call didn't really go in Kathleen Kennedy's favor, probably involved high public sales figures, and the recent cancel Disney Plus hashtag on Twitter actively has Disney and Lucasfilm, as well as their stockholders, quote, shitting bricks, unquote. But as you probably guessed, things always tend to get worse before they get better, unquote. So what does this news source have to say about the firing of Gina Carano? A lot. And I'll be parceling this information out over this next week because there are multiple videos of information to share here, and I don't just want to dump all of it into one big video because it'll be too overwhelming that way, and a lot of details will be lost. But this source confirms what we all suspected, that Kathleen Kennedy and Disney have had it out for Gina Carano even before the Fire Gina Carano hashtag first appeared on Twitter and snowflakes started their targeted harassment campaign to get her fired. There are many reasons why Gina Carano was fired, and as it turns out, she was unfortunately at a kind of a nexus of intersecting agendas, and her continued existence on The Mandalorian was antithetical to those interests. As another source told me, first and foremost, the popularity of Gina Carano completely destroyed Kathleen Kennedy's most treasured phony narrative that male Star Wars fans are misogynists who can't stand strong women, or women in leading roles in films or TV. And yet, Kathleen Kennedy's slander against fans is revealed to be a lie by the fact that Gina Carano was the most popular actor on The Mandalorian. How can that be if fans hate strong women? It can't. Kathleen Kennedy was just full of shit the whole time, preferring to pass off her own mismanagement of Star Wars, her destruction of the franchise, and her alienation of the fan base off as misogyny. Well now, Gina Carano's runaway popularity as the breakout star of The Mandalorian has revealed Kathleen Kennedy's accusations to be what we knew they were all along: lies. Male fans, female fans, we all love Gina Carano, love Cara Dune, and Kathleen Kennedy couldn't stand that. So that's one rumor as to why Gina had to be unjustly fired. Her popularity destroyed the phony, whiny fanboy misogynist meme so dear to Kathleen Kennedy's heart. But even more than that, this new contact says people inside Lucasfilm claim Gina's firing was part of an agenda to sabotage The Mandalorian and undermine Jon Favreau personally. Kathleen Kennedy and her little brown-nosing SJW minions have been actively searching with a magnifying glass for either direct or indirect means to sabotage or derail The Mandalorian's Season 2 revelations with Luke Skywalker in order for the High Republic sales and media coverage to go up in popularity. The failure of the High Republic is sending waves throughout Lucasfilm and Disney. Powerful people at Bob Iger's level are aware of it, but the folks in Kathleen Kennedy's camp are looking for someone or something to put the blame on, as always, instead of themselves. To that end, feeling that Favreau bringing back Luke Skywalker sucked all the oxygen out of the High Republic's launch, I am told that, quote, on the day of Gina Carano's firing, lots of people involved in the Season 2 finale were sent anonymous texts discouraging them from messaging Jon Favreau. One of my sources said a number of people were hanging out with Favreau and a group of other people over at a colleague's house, at which time they noticed that Favreau stepped outside for a lengthy period of time. During that time, a man's voice coming from outside, assumed to be Jon Favreau's, sounded as if he was in a very heated discussion. The people inside couldn't make out all the details of the conversation, but overheard an extremely angry male voice say, quote, "How dare you do this to me? After everything I did for her, don't you dare make this a you or her situation," unquote. The source believes that someone in a high position, maybe even Kathleen Kennedy herself, called Jon Favreau and gave him an ultimatum that either he was going to lose his job as director or Gina Carano had to be fired. And knowing Kathleen Kennedy and Disney, I bet it was the latter, unquote. According to this contact sources, the animosity for Gina Carano goes back before the Fire Gina thing took off on Twitter, when she allegedly got into a very heated argument with one Pablo Hidalgo even before the Star Wars theory controversy, which might have been what caused his lashing out. Allegedly, Hidalgo made snide remarks about Gina Carano's family member who had COVID, and Gina Carano cussed him out from LA to Paris. But being the little bitch he is, he then allegedly complained to Kathleen Kennedy and her ilk, and that's when animosity towards Gina Carano really started piling on. My sources claimed in the weeks leading up to that final filming day, the makeup crew members she was cool with were mysteriously fired and replaced with ones who were, quote, ditzy, unquote. They'd purposely screw up her orders for food, drinks, coffee, and even have her makeup not match her skin tone if Gina didn't catch it. As you guessed, these makeup replacement artists were found out to be SJWs who despised Gina Carano and talked shit about her on Twitter. Geez, what a great working environment for the biggest breakout star on the entire show. This is what happens when ideologues and those with a high school level mean girl mentality run a show straight into the ground because of hurt fifis. It is stunning to me that Gina had to put up with what is essentially childish, petty harassment because she rubbed people the wrong way, had the wrong friends, had the wrong opinions. But was it anything that Gina Carano did that was job related? Did she in any way deserve to be fired? According to this source, Gina Carano has always been a pleasure to work with, even when she'd have small disagreements or arguments with the filming production crew on or around the set. Everyone knows that there's an unwritten code to how actors conduct themselves while on the set of any movie or TV show. You don't talk politics, money, business, or about bedroom shenanigans. Gina Carano always made funny jokes, had good chemistry with the makeup and outfit designers, and treated everyone on the Mandalorian set to good, expensive as fuck pizza after wrapping production. So no, according to these sources, Gina Carano was nothing but a pleasure to work with if these rumors are true. And I tell you, from all I know about this warm and genuine woman, I absolutely believe this. No, Gina Carano's firing had nothing to do with anything but politics. National politics, corporate politics. Gina Carano was fired for being an authentic human being who wouldn't be silenced, wouldn't play the Hollywood game, wouldn't bend the knee to those who wanted to cancel her. Well, now she's been canceled, all right, and has emerged more powerful than Kathleen Kennedy and a little band of snowflake fuckheads could possibly imagine. Gina Carano is a hero, fighting for the right of all of us to live an authentic life free of fear. Fear of being canceled, fear of being lied about, slandered, deliberately misquoted, deliberately smeared. I've experienced all of these things for speaking out against the vandalization of our shared geek culture, and so has Gina. Gina is fighting for all of us. And by God, all of us need to fight for Gina. From the center of the earth, this is Dictor Van Doomcock bidding you all, my friends, stay angry.
Ha 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 ha.